Welcome back. We are live. We are live.
Okay.
We're live and we want to say, hey,
Facebook.
Hey, Instagram.
What it do?
Hey,
YouTube. How you been?
Yes. Just as a reminder, who are we? Right?
We are Ufulu Child. This is the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. I am one of your hosts, Coach Soul Expression. It's my lovely wife,
Coach Tensi. I am also excited to be here. We're holistic health coaches, and we are here to bring to you the secrets of holistic health. And that means everything from the mind, the body, the spirit, the nutrition, the cleansing, the fueling, the moving, the being your true, authentic self, the shining your light to the world, and all the things.
Absolutely. We work off of a 5-prong healing system. Used to be 7 prongs, but then we got wind of the fact that a couple prongs could be put together into one. And those prongs are be, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine. And on this daily podcast, not including the weekend, that's how the podcast is going to be structured. Monday's be day, Tuesday is cleanse day, Wednesday is fuel day, Thursday move day, and Friday today is shine day. Now, what does shine mean? Shine is actually an acronym for SHINE, sharing, honest, insightful, nourishing expressions with those around you, with yourself, and with like your family, friends, things like that. So shining your light has to do with community. Shining your light has to do with
relationships.
Absolute relationships, right? How you present yourself to those who know you or are just acquaintances, but you present yourself in such a way that you're shining your light to them. And what is your light? What is your light that you're shining?
Yeah. So how I think of it is that true essence of who you are, that authentic self, your truest expression when you think of your vision of what freedom looks like for you. Who are you in that vision? That is what it would look like, what that person is doing, what that person is being, how they are around others, how they are with themselves. You know, all of that is the expression of the true light, and it's the same light that's in everyone and everything of the creator, the same one. So
absolutely. And so now we have a question that we are going to dive into to start off this episode. Now that we've explained the significance of the shine element, and that question is, how do each of the factors impact each other? Meaning, be, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine. How do these elements impact one another? How does be relate to cleanse? How does cleanse relate to shine? How does move relate to be? All of these things. And I love this question. This is a great question.
And it came from the Freedom Tribe. By the way, if you would like to get your questions answered, put them down in the comments. And on one of the days of the Freedom 5, we will get to your question, bud.
Absolutely. And how to think about this question properly is very simple. They don't feed into each other one after the other. They actually all are. That's why we call it holistic, right? It's like a circle more than a pathway. Mm-hmm. And B, being represented by what you can do to optimize your mindset and your mind-body connection and your mind-soul connection, things like that. B is your peace. Okay. And with your peace, you may gain some more self-awareness and see that you need to cleanse certain things out, whether those things are mental, emotional, or physical, like, the food that you eat that's got stuck in your body. May notice that through the peace that you gain with B, that these things need to be flushed out. Or you may flush things out and then notice you are more at peace. Again, it's not in any particular order.
Like that awareness.
I have to say things one thing at a time, so it may sound like it's in an order. It's not. So with the peace, you cleanse things out. once you cleanse out, you need to restock some energy.
Replenish.
You need to feed your body.
That goodness.
So you go to fuel, and fuel is both what you feed yourself physically and what you feed yourself mentally. The good and useful content that you're learning from, that you're basing some of your reactions and responses off of, all of that is also fuel. But of course, I would say, the biggest part of fuel is nutrition.
Yes.
And so you fuel yourself with good nutrition, got your peace, you cleansed out, you refueled. Now you need to burn some of those calories. Now you need to burn some of the fat, the healthy fats.
Open
Now
up
you
those
need to
detox pathways.
open up your
with that
detox
sweating,
pathways.
get that circulation popping throughout your body.
Absolutely. And you need to not feel bad about it. And so this, B also helps you not feel bad about cleansing, fueling correctly, meaning not eating certain things and not watching and listening to certain things, right? Not feeling so bad about that. And then moving your body. You want to feel good when you move your body. You're going to feel good at the end anyway, but you want to feel good moving into it and deciding to move your body. So there's that. And then for shine, all of these things help you radiate the goodness that is inherent in your soul.
Yes.
And that's how I would say these things all work together. And again, for anything that I've related to one, it goes the other way as well.
Yes. And, sometimes I think of it like how you said that circle with shine, it always comes right back on to B, because B is, how are you in your spirit? How are you in your mind? How are you in your emotions? How is your mindset? Your focus, everything dealing with the everything else. Everything
Right.
else. How's your rest? And movement affects your mind state. How what you eat affects your mind state. It all interconnects like that. And so I think that's really beautiful. And throughout these episodes of this podcast, we're going to be exploring how they interconnect even more throughout different lenses and different ways and facets. And so I just want to say, for today's topic, which is authentic living and setting, let me see. Okay, there we go. Got my notes so I don't forget the title name. The topic today is authentic living and setting boundaries. So setting boundaries and embracing your true self.
Mm-hmm.
That is just so huge, because it's something that I, especially starting out in my journey, I really struggled with. What does it even look like to be my authentic self in business, and what does it look like to set healthy boundaries when it comes to those relationships? Because especially if you find yourself, I find that a lot of my clients are very highly empathetic, and they are caregivers in some way, shape, or form. And a lot of them are also working mamas, or and just trying to find that balance between sharing of yourself with community. Maybe you're out there doing events and things, or you're just caring for loved ones, and making sure that you're also expressing from that truest place.
Right.
Can be a little give and take, finding that balance, that spot that just is like, that feels optimal.
And there's no better way to find that balance than setting healthy boundaries. Now, a boundary is not a cutoff point where somebody approaches a boundary and then you become rude. A boundary is not a cutoff point where somebody crosses a boundary and, let's say, it's their first time crossing it and you cut them all the way out of your life. A boundary is where you stand your ground, or you understand that something in you needs to change. So you stand your ground and you say something that someone else is doing needs to change, a behavior that they're doing, or you stand your ground and notice and decide to change something within your own behavior and your own inner behavior, your thoughts, emotions, leading to your actions. And so
yes,
boundaries are not about cut off and become,
Cut
something
off
that you're
Game
not.
Strong, and I'm no longer. I'm ice cold.
Exactly. I'm
You
ice
know.
cold to everybody. Because here's the thing. Let's break down authentic self.
Mm,
Authentic is pretty self-explanatory. It means real. It means coming from a place that is not a fabrication or a superposition of something that, basically you superimpose a mask that you're wearing, but you're actually taking the masks off, peeling back the layers, and revealing what's really in your heart and mind.
mm,
And then self. Yourself is a center point of consciousness. It's like the
mm.
seat of consciousness, that I am presence, that it's the most intimate experience of your whole life. It never goes away. You wake up, I am, you go to sleep, I am, and all throughout the day, I am.
Mm.
And so this I am presence is always at the now moment. And so coming from what is true, what is real, what is authentic right now is coming from your authentic self. And the healthy boundaries that you want to start to understand and implement in your life are coming from, how am I going to protect and project what is real in me right now?
And shine is not about any sort of strings attached energy. This is about and setting healthy boundaries. There's this great song called Energy Budget. I don't know if you listen to Tony Jones, but she got a lot of affirmations in her songs. And one of their songs is Energy Budget. I was listening to the other day. And it reminded me about the importance of healthy boundaries and kind of like how you budget your money. But you also you need to budget your energy, like that, making sure the output isn't all the time exceeding the input, making sure you're not depleting yourself again and again and again. I mean, some days, especially, we'll connect it back to the cycle, like near the beginning in your power phases, like how we talked about last episode, are great. I mean, you can exceed a little bit, you can exceed, deplete yourself a little bit, but you always have to come back to a homeostasis and replenish. You have to come into a nurturing phase for yourself. You have to. And this is just things to be mindful of, because when we do set healthy boundaries, this is us being our truest self. It's truth in communication. It's
Yes.
real truth.
And now we're going to get into how to effectively communicate when you're noticing that a boundary is being approached or crossed, or has been crossed, or that you have violated a boundary that you set for yourself, about your own expectations. And I would like to, first of all, recall something I already said about what is your self. Your self is what is now, and your authentic self is what is now and what is real about now in relation to the me factor, the I am presence. And when you are noticing that either you need to set a boundary, or a boundary has been violated, or a boundary has almost been violated, meaning it's being approached, a good way to start communicating is the phrase, I have noticed, or I'm noticing, right? Hey, I'm noticing that I'm not getting what I want out of this conversation. Let's come back to this another day. Hey, I'm noticing.
I feel, or etc. Just, yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I'm noticing that I'm having these, feelings in interacting with you this way. Hey, I'm noticing that I'm coming off very rude and I'm a little short. I haven't had my coffee, blah, 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 right? Or whatever. Just I'm noticing is a very powerful
sentence
that comes from the now.
Yeah.
I am noticing is a now statement. It's a now, beginning of a statement. So
let me add a little caveat to that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because being truthful in communication is about self-responsibility. Okay, it's about taking responsibility for your bags, for your baggage per se. So whenever we're communicating, it's really powerful when you're noticing things to also speak from, okay, the space that you have dominion of, which is you. So not making it so much about what they're doing wrong, what they're not doing, although that can be addressed. But one way that I like to communicate and set those healthy boundaries is by, if I'm using, like, I'm noticing that there is this that I'm feeling a disconnection from something that was said, and I'm needing some clarity. So I'm making it about myself in terms of how I'm phrasing things. I'm taking a responsibility of I had the emotion, it came through me, I'm noticing it, but I'm not blaming, I'm not placing blame on the other person and putting all of the responsibility on them to fix it. Like I'm pulling up my load, my end of it.
Absolutely.
That's important.
And when you effectively communicate, or when you go to effectively communicate a boundary, or um, the noticing that a boundary may be, in at risk,
Yeah.
sometimes there's fear to be honest.
Yes.
Sometimes
Ugh.
there's fear to
Be
there's fear of
vulnerable.
of your own humanness,
Yes.
basically, right? Because you having boundaries does mean you're not completely invincible and, impervious, I think it's called, where you can be
Hmm.
hurt by something can get under your skin, something can um not totally knock you off your square, but knock one toe off your square. And
Come from left field. You wasn't expecting that.
you weren't expecting it, and so you're not perfect.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to embrace the fact that you not being perfect gives the permission for you to enforce healthy boundaries for yourself first, and for others coming to you.
Yes. Yeah, so this is one way to deal with rejection. Let's kind of talk through dealing with rejection and starting to cope with that fear, because fear, as my grandmama say, is false evidence appearing real.
Mhm.
And this is something that is just the kind of like how there's an on and off switch on a light. It's like the off switch to love and to there being like an like active imagination of how can this truly be seen in a way that is to me. So one thing that's really powerful, just to keep it really simple and not confuse things as best as I can in my communication, is to really not let it hinder your personal growth. Just think of it as test runs. So this is optimization data. This is stuff that you can use to really continue on your journey of self-discovery. And it's failure, but failure is good sometimes when you have that moment of, this didn't go how I thought. Observe it and begin to kind of zoom out from it a little bit to reframe it so that you can reframe the rejection as a natural part of life, because it is an opportunity to grow. And sometimes we just need to kind of come back to that meditative moment and just notice the difference between your thoughts, your emotions, such as fear,
And yourself.
and your true self and yourself. Yeah.
There's your thoughts and emotions are observable by you, but the you that can observe your emotion, let's say it's a big emotion, right? Somebody says something and you feel they violated a boundary. Big emotion is happening. You are watching that emotion. You can decide to take a second and see that there's a space between where you're observing that emotion from and the emotion itself, the whirling and intensity of the emotion itself is not actually where you are observing it from. And so you can still come from your place of peace, set the boundary. Hey, I'm noticing blah blah blah, or walk away. It depends on what happened, obviously, but
And no, just like with every healing journey, at first it's gonna be a little rough, okay, a little crunchy, a little, a little extra, but you'll start to notice it quicker, and you'll start to come back to homeostasis quicker in how you're communicating.
Now,
and how
quick
you're
story.
reacting.
Absolutely. There is often, so like we're married, right? And there is often moments where things are hard to communicate, because when you are married to somebody, when you're around somebody, as much as one would be around their spouse,
Yeah.
it's hard to say things that you feel they should already know, or say things that you feel you've already said, and try and come up with
New
ways to
ways.
say it that are better understood and coming more from your authentic self. And so what I learned to do is to give things a few days. And basically I'm a say it in the moment type of personality. Just my personality is very say it in the moment. And I'll say it in the moment either with gestures and sighs and things like that, or I'll strike up a conversation and say, hey, I need to talk about this, this, and this.
Mm,
But also, I've been learning to give it a few days, ponder, see where I have contributed to
mm,
whatever negative experience that I'm, trying to overcome,
mm,
and where truly my wife has contributed to it, and where really that these other parts weren't real contributions. They just seemed like it because of the thing that we were going through and
mm.
struggling through, or moving past, whatever you want to call it. And they seemed like they were also adding to this other negative thing, but it's not true. So just
These
taking a
things pile
moment to
up.
ponder. And what I did, uh back a little bit, was I just wrote a letter instead of trying to strike up a conversation and
Mm,
come off of the cuff about a boundary and things like that. And it really did bring positive future a positive
yes.
future from that moment, as well as gave me the opportunity to communicate something uninterrupted, right?
Mm,
Because in conversation, a lot of times, there's a lot of interruption, there's a lot of misinterpretation, things like that. But if you take a second to put pen to paper, or even write a long text, like some of you girls like to do out there in the world,
mm.
it at least gives you an opportunity to write something uninterrupted and get the full thought out um, without losing your train of thought, pardon
Mm,
me. So that really also helps. And so sometimes being open to being human, setting boundary, and coming from your authentic, place of peace, all ties together in you choosing to do those things through like a different form of communication, like a letter, like a text, uh, or like you prepare what you're going to say mentally before you actually say it, and don't just come off of like get off of the dome, things like that. We do have to conclude this episode and go ahead and wrap up. But did you want to like add anything to the little
yes.
story?
Um, so great story. Don't want to add anything to the story. However, I do want to add something to the just to before we conclude. Salute. Only wanted to share that as well. In conclusion, or right before we conclude, just the last note that I want to make about authenticity and boundaries and fears, and that's also that impersonation, or that what is it called, imposter syndrome. There we go. So whenever we go to open ourselves up to the world, of course that fear is going to come, but that's something that just will come every time you do something new and are really looking to make a big change in your life. So just know that it comes with the territory, and know that it's something that it's honestly an illusion. It's a great illusion that your body sets up to keep you safe. And so just remembering that it's a mechanism that your body's thinking it's keeping you safe by keeping you the same. Even though it's not necessarily true, your body doesn't know the difference. It just knows how your hormones are spiking every time you get nervous when you talk to someone, or you open up your phone and you speak to someone on social media video, or you're trying to share your message out, and really get settled into your purpose. So know that it comes with the territory, and know that it's a automatic response that's going to come because your body's really trying to do a good job by you, in regulating your emotions. um, but just don't let that deter you. At the same time, this is important stuff that we're doing, because telling the truth and being our true selves is and coming from a space of that morality and inner knowing is vital, especially in this world today where there's so many lies and so much deception. So be vital.
Absolutely.
Be vigilant in that.
Shine your light by being your authentic self. Set healthy boundaries. Enforce those boundaries with care. Come from your place of peace. And shed as much as you can your fear of shining that light. That is our shine message for today. Next week, we are coming back Monday morning, 6:30 sharp, sort of, kind of, maybe a little bit after.
Around 6:30.
Around 6:30-ish. With B Day, B part 2, the second B Day of our wonderful show here, the Holistic Freedom Seekers podcast. Thank you all so very much for getting through this week. Did you want to add anything before we go?
Let us know what you thought. And I want this to be a moment, really reflect on what is that one relationship in your life that is really meaningful to you that probably needs a healthy boundary, and how might you start to take that next natural step to come to that moment where you can shine, where you truly can be in that relationship and make it a little bit more fulfilling and healthy and right for you. Yeah.
Awesome.
We love you.
Love you, and
Take
we'll
good
see
care.
y'all next time.
Okay. Peace. Hi, Facebook.